This is the Curiosity rover before departing for Mars. We want Curiosity to be a good rover, and we want Curiosity to be a brilliant emissary for human beings as they reach out to a neighbouring world. Curiosity, remember the captain said, set phasers to stun. Perhaps Curiosity will make friends. Curiosity is a hot set of wheels. Perhaps Curiosity might pick up some hitchhikers. Well, here's Curiosity on just day 3 of the mission on Mars, and looking pristine and shiny clean and ready to go. Well, no one can expect to keep their good looks forever, and it looks like it's definitely time for Curiosity to nip into the Martian car wash. Rover wash. So what has that mucky little rover been rolling around in? Let's have a look. Curiosity has sent us some nice pictures back of, looks like some sand with some pebbles about the place. Let's have a closer look at that. This is a funny picture because it looks like sand and pebbles, but there are lots of funny little fuzzy patches on the sand. I'm going to have a closer look at those. Well, I'm going to use the GIMP and have a really good look at that little fuzzy patch. Perhaps it's something interesting. This is interesting. When I zoom in to that little fuzzy corner, it looks like a little cluster of eggs. Small white spherical things with like a black dot or a black patch on them. Let's have another look at that bit of ground. Well, it's interesting now. I increase the brightness and contrast, and what was apparently sand now looks like semolina. I wonder what I can see if I get up a bit closer to that small rock. Perhaps there's something interesting there. It definitely looks a bit fuzzy around the bottom of that rock. So what can I see if I just take a bit of sand with no pebbles in it, and I shall enlarge the section of the photograph, use a bit of brightness and contrast, and try and see what's there. Let's just go back to those pebbles, take a long view again. Now if we zoom into those, it looks like they also are made up of those round spherical objects with a little black patch on them. Well, this is the stuff that's been thrown up in the air and has landed on top of Curiosity. So maybe it would be interesting to have a closer look at all that muck that got on top of the rover and see if we can find anything there that looks interesting. So here are a few pictures of the bonnet of the rover again, and these ones I found on a blog site where somebody was becoming very concerned about the way that features on the rover seemed to be changing. They were very interested in an inlet cover, which they put a green circle around, because it appeared to have formed concentric circles at some point, and then in a later photograph the concentric circles had disappeared. I was more interested in the dust and sand and those white streaks that have appeared on the bonnet of the rover. So the conclusion that I'm trying to bring this video to is that the Martian surface is covered in living entities, or at least entities which we do not yet understand properly. It is just my assumption that these are biological entities. Now, the rover is there as a representative of all humanity on another planet. We've gone there without invitation, of course, and we've just assumed it's okay to drive around on that surface, to take samples, and to even to use a laser to blast away at interesting bits of rock and objects. Now, there are ethical considerations here. We don't actually know what Curiosity is driving around on, or what it's zapping with its laser. The intention isn't obviously to do damage or to give hurt to anything that's alive. But the question is, we don't actually know what the impact of Curiosity rover is. The COSPAR committee, the international committee which looks at questions of ethics and safety in planetary exploration, is just beginning to discuss the impact of all the junk that we've now put on and around Mars. They're also considering the possible damage that we could do, not just to biological entities on that planet, but also perhaps to landscape features. It's such early days, and these matters have not been discussed. But perhaps the most important thing that COSPAR have been talking about is whether or not they should consult all of us about what we do as a species on somebody else's planet. Now, I don't think we should assume that we can just go and land on other planets and do what the hell we like there. We've not got a very good track record with our own planet, and also our history of exploration has often resulted in the most terrible injustice and damage to the people and places that we have explored. We really do have to examine ourselves and decide whether we are allowed to just go to another planet which is apparently uninhabited according to our state of knowledge, and just take liberties there. But if you're not persuaded that there's an ethical consideration here, and that maybe it's somehow our destiny to take dominion of yet another planet, then I would leave one final thought behind. Either on Mars or one day on somebody's planet, we're really going to annoy somebody. Now, they're not going to come looking for NASA or the United States or the Chinese government, or perhaps somebody from India or the United Kingdom. If we really annoy somebody out there, they're going to come looking for humanity. So I think we should all be asked to consider the risks and what we consider right and proper for our species to do before we just start sending probes and people and junk to other planets.